Well, hey guys, this is a bit of a flashback. We've got King, we've got the E92, and we've got a back garden. Welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60. Now, this is something I'm really looking forward to. This is bringing back the old days, which I know a lot of you N54 guys are going to be looking forward to. It is an early Saturday morning. I'm trying to be quiet and not wake anybody up. King's not helping. He just wants to play ball. But it's time to put this E92 back together. Now, I've got a 5-month build window for this thing. I don't get to work on it during the day. Unfortunately, I now have a job, so it's going to be done after hours on the weekends. But because of what happened over the last 18 months and it getting taken, and this is the one that got taken and got left outside in the sun for too long, I'm left with a bit of a blank slate. People that were following the channel along for a while will know that this had the JMC single turbo kit. It was running a 35-1050 single turbo kit. It was making some power. It never got to make it to a dyno, but that thing at 30 pounds of boost should have been around 700 wheel horsepower. Unfortunately, it was making so much power, the head gasket, the L-ring head gasket, decided it didn't want to be a head gasket anymore, and it let some of the coolant out. We got coolant everywhere. Shit. Now that does seem to be a bit of a running theme with those L-ring head gaskets when you start to turn these motors up. Just something to keep in mind. So last time it was being used, it blew the head gasket, and we also had issues where it burnt through the DCT clutch. Now, I don't want to blame the DCT, but I did a lot of launches when it was running around 600 wheel horsepower, and I think that's what ultimately hurt those clutches. Yeah, I was just being a bit too abusive, and the more I've learned about those DCTs, standard clutches don't like being launched. Well, even race clutches, they don't like launching. Fine if you're trying to put power on once you're rolling, but trying to slip the clutches off the line, ultimately you're going to be chewing up that clutch material on those two clutches. However, I kind of want to put the DCT back in. In fact, before we get into what my current plans are and what I want some advice from you lot on, let me show you the state that this thing is currently in. And he really wants to play ball. Go on. Important things. Okay, guys, this is the car. Some of you will know, but this was hail damaged in late 2021. Eventually, I got that all repaired and I had the entire car resprayed. So at the start of 2022, this thing looked like a brand new vehicle. It's not had a wash in a very long time. And unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to pay for that. The paint has gone on the roof. Yeah, when it got impounded, I was pretty upset about the whole thing. And when it come back, I just put a cover on it and I've not looked at it. This is the first time I've actually really gone over it. I didn't know the badge had fallen off, and the interior is pretty manky as well. Something I will just point out and show you guys how much of a blank canvas we are working with. Now, because the engine was broken, the transmission was broken, before I'd been threatened with it being impounded, a lot of it was already taken apart. When I got the threat that they might impound it if I didn't want to plead guilty to these allegations, I took all the expensive stuff out. Don't hate me. I didn't know they were really going to impound it. I thought they were trying to be funny. But yeah, we have zero drivetrain. No diff, no axles, no gearbox, no engine. You can see through the engine bay from here. It has no brakes. It has no suspension. It's currently sitting on blocks of wood right now. Yeah, when I say I've got a blank canvas, we are really working with a very fresh, unmolested sort of setup right now. The engine bay, it's got a lot of grass in it, a little bit of rust. It's even got some nuts holding the suspension in. It does have standard front struts in at the moment. They are blown, they are useless. I've got to work out what I'm going to do with it. Yeah, we're really going to be working with nearly anything. Now, there are some stipulations. Before I go to the interior, which is the most upsetting part, I do want to run the JMC single turbo kit again, and I also want to run the DCT again initially, because I did buy a new clutch for that DCT, so it'd be good to put it back in and just give that setup its chance to thrive. That's probably the best way to look at it. I don't want to dismiss it straight away, although I think ultimately it's going to end up with an 8-speed. The interior, it actually doesn't look too bad. Still got the M Sport seats, they stayed in it. The steering wheel has not fared well. I don't know how that's gotten so bad. It has no infotainment unit, no center console, the shift is missing. The headliner is all sagged. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that, but it is all just falling down and saggy. I think it ultimately got some moisture in there. It doesn't smell wet, but we have got water damaged rear seats. The leather has actually torn. Yeah, the rear seats are no good. So we've got to do the interior. We've got to do a steering wheel. We've got to do an infotainment system. God, even all this looked really good. It's actually coming up not too bad just from wiping it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. We've got to put it back together. I'm going to build an engine. I've got a few N54s now with broken pistons or leaky head gaskets. But ultimately, I want to start fresh with a built motor in this one. I'm probably going to use the King Tech pistons. Now, I did ask in the E90 video that went up a couple of weeks ago, what pistons would you like to see? And it was about 50-50 between the AMP44s and the King Techs. I've done an AMP44 build. They're fine. They're really good pistons. I've seen inside that engine recently, and it's good. Those pistons are good pistons. So let's try the King Techs. So we'll probably do King Tech pistons and rods in the motor, but the rest of it is undecided at this point. So do we want to experiment with 12mm head bolts again, or shall I just use a genuine gasket and genuine rod bolts and see what you can do there? I kind of want to explore that way because I think that's the easiest way for people to build a motor at home. Rods, pistons, don't even take the crank out, standard head bolts and a standard head gasket. It should be pretty safe, and I'd like to think they'll make 700 wheel horsepower reliably if people can do that at home. But do you want to experiment with head studs? Let me know. The more I've learned about engines, the more you clamp the head more, the more you can run into problems elsewhere in the engine. And if you are clamping the head more with ARPs and that sort of stuff, should you have sleeves? Should it be a closed deck to stop it trying to warp at the top? This is where it gets a bit unknown. And when you make that commitment to be clamping the head a bit more, you've got to start thinking about a lot of other aspects. Just keep that in mind. But let me know what you want to see. I noticed last week somebody's now selling resin fill for the N54s. I think it's a terrible idea, but I kind of want to see what it does. We have headlights. Now these headlights, when the car was taken apart, I had a chance to look inside these. I took all the bulbs and everything out. You can see that motor's not sitting normal. All the wiring inside has gone a bit not good. So I think we're gonna have to do a headlight rebuild. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want me to see me put in them. These ones I know are gonna throw error codes, so I've got to fix them, so I may as well jazz them up a little bit while we're there. Guys, I'm trying to sort of take in the condition of the car whilst talking to you. I know that there is nothing inside here at the moment. We've got a lot to do. The reason I talk about that, it has no ECU at the moment, so do we want to run with standalone DME and port injection through that, which I think is getting pretty close according to Houston? Or shall I just cut my losses now and put a max ECU on it? I don't know. Or do I do both? I don't know. We've got this platform to experiment with and build together and try and learn something with it right now, because it's pretty bare. It's pretty bare. At least the sun's come out. Guys, this is it. So this is what I want. I want you to help me decide how to put this thing back together, how to build it better than it ever was before. So points that I want in the comments. I want to know what you think I should do with the engine. The DCT settled for now. It's not a permanent thing, but it's definitely going to have a DCT transmission. This car has, I've got it somewhere, a standard open DCT diff. That's not going to fly. So even if the DCT is only going to be in for 6 months, I need to do something with the diff. Should I try one of those racing diffs or racing lab diffs, whatever they are, those little spring things that sort of semi-lock or semi-limited slip a standard diff, a cheap option, or should I just put a decent diff in it? Let me know. Yeah, so engine, diff, what should I do with suspension? I kind of like the BC coilovers. They just sort of work. But is there a suspension system that you guys want to see reviewed or get some opinions on and go in this car? Let me know. Brakes. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to use dick-ass brakes. I love my dick-ass. I really do like those brakes. I'm going to put a set of dick-ass on it again. I've got some blue and some red ones. Let me know what color you should think. Yeah, so that's that sorted. I'm probably going to run the original wheels that I used to have on it, the F80 M3 wheels. I've got them. They're fine. They'll do for now. But I'm going to need to sort out some sort of setup for when we are at the track. This is a very old tyre, so I need to get some tyres worked out for the track wheels. Interior-wise, steering wheel. Should we retrim this one? I've done a retrim one. Should we try an F-Series wheel? Let me know. Dash cluster. Obviously, I had the digital dash cluster that was in the E91. I had an IS cluster in this car. That's the original cluster for this car. Should I try an M3 cluster? Let me know what you want to see. Infotainment. I like my Chinese Androids. Or should we go down the route of an MBT Evo upgrade? Let me know what you guys want to see. Headlining. I'm going to retrim it. I'm just going to retrim the headlining. Seats. I'm kind of want to experiment with seats. Seeing Dan's E46 M3 with the F80 M3 seats, I like those seats. So maybe we'll go for a new interior as well. Let me know what you want to see, or do you want to just see race seats in it? Give me some inspiration. That's what I want. Even the headlights. Send me some links to different headlights that you've seen. Guys, I want your help. I want to build this together and try and end up with something that is better than it ever was before. I made a comment in, I think, 2021, when it was running around 600 horsepower with the China turbos. I made the comment that if somebody offered me 50 grand for this car, I wouldn't sell it.
A few of you guys were worried that I was going to be getting rid of it. That's not the case. I'm sure, hopefully a few of you guys can relate, but when you get a car, it's sort of, if you get one you really like, the money doesn't matter. And someone could offer me 50 grand for this car and I don't think I'd sell it.
Within 2 years, it cost me 50 grand to keep it. So it means a lot to me. I want to make it right. Give me some opinions. Even the spoiler, let me know. I don't know if I love it. I said that when I put it on. What are we going to do? But in the meantime, it is a long weekend, so that gives me a chance to actually do some work on it, and I'm going to start probably with the headlining. So I might do a video on that, and I might try and polish the roof as well. Anyway, thank you for watching. The E92's back. Like I said at the start of this video, we've got to get this done by May. So 4 or 5 months to get this thing fully back together, ready to be dyno tuned, because I want to get it tuned by someone that knows what they're doing. All right, guys, it's the intro. I gotta go do some work.